Hello, welcome to the Everything is Black and White podcast. Merry Christmas. It is Christmas Day in your household, hopefully. I am Andrew Musgrove. I'm joined by Mark Crothers, and this is the not so big Everything is Black and White podcast Christmas quiz. Could have come up with a sexier title, but it's not about the title, it's about the content. So grab yourself a piece of paper, grab yourself a pen, and we want you guys to play along. We do hope you're having a lovely Christmas. We hope that you've opened your F Pro trainer mat, if indeed you've bought it via us and used that special discount, which is still available via the link in the podcast description box, or go into fpro.com/EIBW20 and also NordVPN. If you've just got yourself a brand new tablet, a brand new phone, the one thing you're going to want on there as well is YouTube or the podcast app that you're joining us through is a NordVPN download, because it protects you from the hackers and scammers out there and protects you while on public Wi-Fi. So hit the link in the podcast description box and get a discount there as well. Merry Christmas, Mark. You well? You good?
Merry Christmas. I'm very good, yeah. Got the feelings of the season all over here in the house. Got two young kids, so it's a very exciting time there, up a height, and looking forward to an exciting Christmas period.
Loving the Christmas jumper and the Christmas blanket behind you as well.
Well, I went full on, so I've even got a Christmas mug, and I don't mean myself, by the way. But I do have a Christmas mug I'm drinking tea out of. So, yeah, all good, all good.
Well, it took me like 15 years to finally buy this Christmas jumper. It is the Nakatomi Plaza 1989 Christmas party invite. Die Hard, the best Christmas movie, about right?
It's not, but okay, we'll go with that.
Okay, we'll not get that discussion because that could last
all. Wonderful Life. I'm sorry, it's an old classic. It's Wonderful Life.
Well, as we're all for engagement, we invited guys to get into the comments and share your favorite Christmas movies, right? But this is the not so big Everything is Black and White podcast Christmas quiz. 20 questions, and we're going to test your trivia, Mark, your knowledge of Newcastle United, as well as our viewers and listeners. Do play along at home. Do get in the comments. There is no logic or order to this quiz. There is no Christmas link. It's just 20 questions that I've come up with to see how well Mark and you guys know Newcastle United. So we will give the answer after every question, and then we'll tally Mark's scores up at the end. You been revising?
Nope.
Not at all?
I know you want us to say yes, so it looks like I'm taking this seriously. But no, not at all. I did a bit of a brag before we started recording. No, I didn't. I should make people aware that I did say I don't need to revise, which I don't mind. I'll put it out there. It's going to bite us on the where, but
I mean, look, I said Anthony Langer was going to double his price when he arrived at Newcastle United. We all get things wrong. It happens, right?
Yeah, there's still time. There's still time.
Before we start, for those watching on YouTube, we're going to add an additional frame to our screen. Get ready for this.
Now it is Christmas.
For the listeners, we've just added candy cane, some Christmas trees to the screen, and it looks extremely festive. Let's get on with...
Can I make an awkward point first? We need the colours of those candy canes changed.
Yeah, but you know what? With candy canes...
Christmas.
I'm okay, red and white, it's fine. I still eat bacon,
Goodwill to all men and all that.
Precisely. Right, you got your pen and paper? You ready?
No, I'm winging it. Absolutely winging it. So
wow. I hope our listeners and viewers take better preparation than you are.
They absolutely will.
Right. First question. What is the postcode of St. James's Park? Full postcode, because everyone knows the beginning of the answer. I need a full postcode.
So NE 15ST?
No. Close, though. That is not a bad guess. That is extremely close.
NE 1ST?
Nope.
No, okay. I give up.
NE 4ST.
Oh, that is close.
That was. Everyone knows NE1.
Yeah.
But the last of it's kind of like, gets you thinking. Because when you think about it, you probably never actually ever needed to know the postcode of St. James's Park, right?
Could get there blindfolded quite easily.
So question 1, and your brag of, I don't need to research anything, has failed instantly. I'm all for that. Brilliant. That's my Christmas day made.
I've never been good at geography anyway. So.
Number 2. Newcastle United first competed in the Champions League in the 97-98 campaign, but who was their first opponent in the group stage?
I mean, what a night, first of all. what a night. In
haven't you?
97, 98. I mean, I can remember that because, and I'm fairly certain I'm not the only person watching this, if we're talking about the group stage, where I had a ticket to see Oasis that night, but rejected it. So it's Barcelona.
It is Barcelona. It's 3-2. Tino Asprilla with the hat-trick. They did, of course, play a qualifying round to get to the Champions League, but we're talking about their first opponent in the group stage, and it was Barcelona. Keith Gillespie that night. Whew.
Yeah, I mean, look, that was, when you look back and you think of, you say your top 5 nights or days or whatever, games watching Newcastle, covering Newcastle or whatever, I think that would have to be in there, wouldn't it? Just because it was the night they arrived in the Champions League. It was after all the drama of beating Croatia Zagreb in such sort of dramatic circumstances, to then be drawn against Barcelona, like one of the real heavyweights of world football, and then to beat them. And the talented Barcelona side, I mean, Figo, Rivaldo, Enrique, players like that, just incredible. But yeah, you're right. I mean, that night, just Gillespie was his night, really. I know Tino took the headlines, rightly so, but Gillespie was just unplayable against a brilliant left back in Sergi, who was, I don't know if you'll remember, the Euro 96 was probably the best left back in the tournament, and Gillespie absolutely tore him apart.
I think it says something that Newcastle finished second the season to get into the Champions League and still had to go through a qualifying round to get there. That shows you how much things have shifted when it comes to the Champions League. And now, I mean, you could finish 5th and get into the Champions League. It's absolutely mental.
Could I be cynic here and suggest that money's played a part in that?
You can't be a cynic, and we'll move on. But I'm sure our listeners and viewers have various opinions on that. Look at that Christmas mug as well. You are full on festive. They come out start of December, do they?
Well, they're always in the cupboard, I'm not going to lie, but they don't get used until maybe late November, we'll say.
Love that, Mark. It's full on Christmas, yeah. Okay, so the answer was Barcelona. I think for many still the greatest performance from a winger that they've seen. Although you did make a reference earlier in the year to, was it Anthony Gordon having...
Going against Benfica, he was brilliant that night. He was unplayable.
Shame we haven't seen it since. I
said it was up there. I didn't say it was, I said as good as Gillespie, I think. I didn't say it was better.
I mean, I thought at the time it was still quite a big call. But anyway.
Stand by it. Stand by it.
Number 3. Newcastle United signed Wyn Davies from which club in 1966?
Okay. I think I know this.
How confident are we?
And what I will say is I'm seeing my dad in around about an hour's time. And Wyn Davies was one of his first heroes. So if I was to get this wrong, I have a feeling he won't speak to me. And I've got 2 clubs in mind. I'm going to go for Bolton Wanderers.
Look at that. Indeed, he did. He impressed Joe Harvey so much that he went back to get him. And the story goes that Wyn wanted to speak to his mum before he made the decision to move to Newcastle United, went to the bottom of the street to go to a payphone, dialed up his mum, and then began speaking to her in Welsh. And nobody could understand what he was saying. He did sign for Newcastle United. He was a major part of that 1969 Fairs Cup winning side. And I spent some time with Pop Robson earlier this month, and he was telling me all about their partnership and how well they got on, the kind of little and large partnership. Hopefully we might get to see that with Johan Wissa and Nick Valdemare going forward. But yes, Wyn Davies sadly passed away earlier this year. Dearly missed, but he signed 1966 from Bolton Wanderers. So 3 questions in, Mark, and you've got 2 correct so far.
Can you imagine back then if you'd said to a Newcastle fan, in years to come, they'll have a German and Congolese forward line? Imagine that. I think I'm sounding old, actually. My last 2 answers, I feel as if I've sounded old. So let's move on.
Remember, they had the Bleeder brothers in the 50s, right?
It did.
And then they also had, his name escapes, they had the Danish midfielder who was part of the 69 Cup winning side.
Benny Aaron Toft.
So, a foreigner in a black and white shirt, it wasn't the most unheard of things. But yeah, Like you say, those two together could be hopefully a dream partnership going forward. Question number 4 then. Which company replaced Newcastle United's brown ale sponsorship on the front of their shirts in the 2000 and 2001 season?
So this was a weird one, wasn't it? Because it just the company came from nowhere, and there was talk of a potential takeover by the company. I can't remember if they were American or not. I feel like they were. I'm going to look really stupid if this isn't right now, but was it NTL?
It was NTL, so they took over from Newcastle Brown Ale, and actually there were some really nice shirts in that period of time. And you were right, there was talk of a takeover. And I spoke to the CEO a few years back, and just kind of got into the depths of what that story actually was. And they were fully committed to trying to take over Newcastle United, but the regulator blocked the move because at the same time Sky were trying to take over Manchester United. And the government blocked that, and inevitably they were going to block a similar company, admittedly not of similar stature, but they were going to block them taking over a Premier League side, and they did do. But when I spoke to the CEO a few years back, he was so proud of his small role in Newcastle United's history. He has the shirt still up in his office over in Canada. He loved his time as sponsor and has really fond memories. And I loved loved is a bit of a strong word, because obviously we loved the brown ale sponsorship. I wouldn't say we loved the NTL as much, but I liked it. The colours on the shirts, the purple and greens. It was a nice sponsor.
Can I tell you a story about the first NTL kit?
Go on.
So I was working at a sports store in the Metro Centre at the time as a part-time staff, and I actually lost a bet with another member of staff. And the forfeit was that you had to get on the back of your shirt whatever the other person said. So I ended up, bear in mind at the time there was your Shearers and players of that ilk, Rob Lee, people like that, Kieran Dyer. I ended up getting 10 Basidas on the back, and kept that shirt for a good few seasons. Actually wore it to Inter Milan, to that game, which led to some serious questions pretty much at every turn of the road, where it was, why have you got that in your back? So I had to explain this story several times. So
was he even number 10?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Was he really? Oh, that could be question 21.
I don't think that's why they were questioning mine, but yeah, one of the more underwhelming signings of that era. It's when they had a spell.
Well, at least it was a player. At least it was a player on the back. I mean, it could have been anything,
Well, no, that was the thing. It had to be a player. So the thing is, it's that was around the period when they made a number of sort of South American signings that just didn't really work out. Daniel Cordone and players like that. Although I will stand up for Clarence Acuna. I always thought he was slightly underrated.
Well, Sir Bobby trusted him for a good couple of seasons. He made a lot of appearances.
Got some big goals.
Always give 100%. But yeah, the answer there was NTL. Question number 5 then. Lamana Luar was signed by Newcastle United from which club?
I'm just delaying because I know the answer, but I'll just give people a chance to to jump in. But again, a player that was an interesting sign at the time, wasn't he? Sort of came in and gave a little bit of something different, but only because he just didn't have a clue what he was going to do when he was on the ball. I mean, again, remember him. I think one of his first goals for Newcastle may well have been his first goal was in Loughran in the Total Cup, like an overhead kick possibly. But yeah, just completely unpredictable. But the answer is Colchester United.
It is, and it is Colchester United. Lamana Luar is thought of so fondly by Newcastle United fans, and yet for a club that is built on strikers, his goal scoring record is absolutely terrible. Yet, if he walks down the street, people are going to be wanting autographs, going to be wanting photographs. I think just because he was so entertaining, like you say, he didn't really know what he was going to do with the ball when he got it, but he just give that kind of level of unpredictability, which helps you win games and when everything else hasn't worked out. And he was very, very entertaining. And look, we've just spoken about NTL there in front of the shirt. He was one of those players that I think everyone remembers in that era with that sponsor, with those lovely jerseys that Adidas did create, some of the best ones they did, especially the home ones. So yeah, question number 5 was the answer, Colchester United. Number 6, which so-called hardman / defender ended up in goal after Wimbledon's goalkeeper was sent off in October 1995?
Yeah,
I should go in movie star as well. I'm sure he's
giving too much away. It was Vin. No, wasn't it? It was, yeah. Funny you should say this, because I was talking about this game the other day with someone at a game I was at, and I can't even remember why it came up. But it was so random that it did. But yeah, I think it's the only time Newcastle fans will have possibly felt sorry for this gentleman in question. But it was, when you watch some of the saves that he made, from the caliber of players he made them from, your Les Ferdinands, your Ginolas, your Lee Clark. I think he made an unbelievable save from Lee Clark. And then to get the reception he got from the Gallagher end was just one of the most bizarre days I think I've had at St James's Park. But yeah, it was Vincent Jones.
It was, and you watch back the highlights of Vinnie Jones in goal for Wimbledon, and I think he's just playing. Well, he's playing like he played most of his football career, really, without any fear, an elevated belief in his ability, and he just took on that task and said, right, let's see what happens here. And some of the saves he pulled off were fantastic. It did end 6-1. Sir Les scored a treble. Vinnie Jones only conceded 3 of those 6, and as we both mentioned there, saved a heck of a lot more, because it would have been closer to double figures. But if you were in the Gallagher that afternoon, do drop us a comment about your memories of Vinnie Jones playing in goal for Wimbledon. Mark,
I always remember the fact that the shirt that he had on was just far too big for him. And he wasn't a small bloke, by the way, but the shirt was just massive.
Yeah, it was like a dress, wasn't it? Yeah. After a slow start, Mark, you're doing quite well. You've got the last 5 correct, got the first question wrong, but you're on a bit of a roll. Question number 7 then. What nationality is former midfielder Matty Patterson?
So I know Pato pretty well now, because he's been quite heavily involved in the North East non-league scene since moving back to the region. Had a spell as Wickham manager, played for the likes of Gateshead and Blythe Spartans and South Shields, which is where he still is to this day. Matty is a South African, and he is a South African international as well. Former South African international, I should say.
What's the accent like?
Do you know what? It's still quite, quite South African, with a little hint of Geordie in there every now and then. I'm not going into like Elias Sorensen style, weird Danish hybrid Geordie. It is, you can still tell that Patter's from South Africa, but there is little hints of Geordie in there every now and then. But a great bloke, genuinely great bloke.
He had a decent enough career after he left Newcastle. He only made a handful of appearances during his time here, kind of the Glenn Roeder kind of spell, wasn't it? But I think he went on to Norwich afterwards.
He did. Do you know what people forget about him as well is that in his time in the academy, he actually did 2 ACLs injuries. So to get into the first team after coming through such a bad sort of run of injuries, I think is testament to his attitude and kind of commitment. But yeah, just it was around that time, wasn't it, when there was quite a few academy players were given a bit of a chance. You had David Edgars and Paul Huntingdons, and obviously people like Peter Ramage came into the first team on a more regular basis. And I think Matty, if Glenn Roeder had stayed, I think he would have probably been a bit more of a permanent member of the first team squad.
Well, it's funny you should mention David Edgar, because he is the subject of question number 8. And it is, which side did he join after leaving Newcastle United?
Well, that is a good question.
I've got a couple of clues if you want the clues.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I assume an English club.
It was an English club, yeah. It was a Premier League club that he went to join.
Fine, I know who it is then. Yeah, I mean, do you remember his goal against Manchester United on New Year's Day? I think it was a 2-2 draw. Yeah, such a strange night, that one, because one, it was absolutely freezing. I was in the Gallagher end again, but it was better that night. I think James Milner got the first one, didn't he, with an unbelievable effort. But yeah, Burnley. It was Burnley.
It was Burnley. He made 4 appearances for them in the Premier League. then he went on to make a further 95 as they stopped in the Championship. So, good little number for him at Burnley. And yeah, another guy who, like we say, made a handful of appearances for Newcastle United, but is always thought of quite fondly. I think kind of because of the spell Newcastle United were going through was a bit doom and gloom. And as we say, players who in an ideal world wouldn't be called upon, were called upon, and all we can ask is that they give their very best, and that's what the likes of him, Matty Patterson, and the others who ended up in the team did do. But yeah, he ended up at Burnley. Question number 9: can you name Kevin Keegan's final Premier League game in charge before he quit as manager in January 1997?
Yeah, so I think his final game in charge was an FA Cup draw, third round draw at Charlton, wasn't it? Rob Lee scored against his old club. Can't remember who scored for Charlton that day. I want to say Graham Stewart, but I don't think that's right. But by the time the replay had come round, obviously, I think they played Southampton possibly in the league, and then beat Charlton in Kenny Dalglish's first kind of game in charge, or first game of the club. I think was it Tottenham, the 7-1?
It wasn't. That was the penultimate league game.
How was it?
And they had gone on a horrible run up to that point, and
it was
kind of someone had just open the dam and everything rushed through, and it was a great performance. Shearer scored some cracking goals that day. The one over the top particularly sticks in my memory. But no, there was a game after that.
Leeds.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1-3-1, didn't they?
3-0.
3-0, sorry, I thought it was 3-1. Yeah, Leeds, yeah. Damn.
There we go. And I think it was Keith Gillespie actually that scored that day. But yeah, and then out of nowhere, Keegan decides to quit. Obviously, you mentioned there the FA Cup game against Charlton, which ended as a draw. But Keegan said it was because he looked across the touchline at Jerry Francis. I do apologise. Jerry Francis, and saw the heartache on his face as Newcastle put 7 past Tottenham, and that was the breaking point for him. There was also off the field drama between him and the owners, and how the stock market had a little role to play in all of that. But that was kind of the final straw for Keegan, was the heartbreak that he'd caused Jerry Francis as he thumped the Spurs side 7-1.
Yeah, I mean, just a devastating time when he left, and sort of that initial thing of thinking Dalglish was the right appointment because he would come in and just tweak it slightly. I think that's kind of the consensus across the board, but in the end, just went right the other way, didn't it? Let's say that.
Yeah, a sliding doors moment, isn't it? Because Sir John Hall wanted Sir Bobby Robson, thought that deal was done and dusted, but Sir Bobby was true to Barcelona, and then literally a couple of months later, they decided to move him upstairs. So, if Sir Bobby had come in, Newcastle United, I think, would be a very different club to the one we know now, because I think he would have just tweaked it ever so slightly, and they would have gone on to win a major trophy a long time before they actually did do. But yeah, Kevin Keegan's last Premier League game in charge of Newcastle United in his first spell was against Leeds. Question number 10: which club did Newcastle United sign Cisco from?
Yeah, what an interesting time that was.
I remember his debut against Hull. We lost 2-0.
I think he scored,
I don't think I'm sure we lost 2-0, didn't we?
I genuinely think he scored. You're going to have to have a look now.
I'm going to have to look. But regardless, the story I was going to tell was that we lost that game, and it was absolute chaos. And you had people climbing lampposts, and it was just one of the worst atmospheres inside the ground that I've ever remembered. It was 2-1 actually, and he did score in the game, so I could give you a little bonus point for that. But that was his only goal for Newcastle United, and the only atmosphere I remember coming close to that is the Cardiff City game where Alan Pardew couldn't get off the bloody bench to stand in the dugout. But anyway, come on, where did he sign from?
Well, firstly, I'll say I think these two major contributions at Newcastle were the goal, and then he set up Andy Carroll for his hat-trick goal against Aston Villa, didn't he, in the first home game back in the Premier League in 2010. But it was Deportivo La Coruña.
It was indeed. And this isn't an additional question, but the other striker Newcastle signed from that team that turned out to also be a flop?
Albert Luque. Well,
You're going to say more of a winger.
Yeah, we was. So forward. We'll go forward. Who's a forward?
We got it. Flop. That's the main point.
You know what? I was always watching a lot of La Liga back then when it was on Sky Sports and it was done properly. And I used to love Luque when he was at Depot. They had a great side. He was so good to watch. And I was so excited when Newcastle signed him. And then, yeah, that injury. I mean, I think I remember reading that he kind of tore 75% of his hamstring or something, some crazy percentage. And it just ruined his career at Newcastle. I don't think he would have been as good as people may have wanted him to be, but I think he still would have been better than what he was, which isn't really difficult. But still, some memorable goals there.
Remember getting injured against Fulham, wasn't it? Oh, yeah. Devastating. But yes, scored against Sunderland, which is always welcome. Question number 11. Who was Sam Allardyce's captain for the 2007-2008 campaign?
Well, that's a good question.
This person was removed as captain when Keegan came in to replace Allardyce.
Again, I'm torn between two here. That period was so messy, wasn't it? Because so many players came in. And I'm guessing Keegan replaced him with Michael Owen.
Yes.
So I'm torn between two. You can very well turn around here and go, no, it's neither of those. So it's either Nicky Butt or Alan Smith.
It's neither.
Is it neither? Oh, okay, that's gone well.
I mean, that period, like you say, was a bit bizarre because there were some good signings. Martin signed and the start of the season really, really well. But then you had other signings like Faye came in. And this player came in, he was decent enough. He was a very talented footballer, but he was nowhere near his best. He spent time at other much bigger clubs and done quite well. But I still think he's remembered again relatively well by Newcastle United fans. Didn't do too much to write the headlines, but didn't, put his feet up when he was called upon.
No, you're gonna have to tell us. I'm done.
Jeremy.
Oh, was it Jeremy? Wow, what a bizarre choice that was. Okay.
Obviously on loan at Borough, then Chelsea swooped in and brought him from Real Madrid, and he was a major part of that Chelsea side that did quite well in the early stages of the money days. So there, Jeremy was the captain. I mean, I still maintain that Keegan should never have come back, and I think things wouldn't have been pleasing on the eye. We wouldn't have won anything, but I don't think we would have gone down in a Sam Allardyce. I think it was the wrong call. Easy for me to say now, but I've maintained that for many a year.
It just felt a bit grim though, didn't it, when it was really going bad? And remember the Liverpool game when Shea Given pretty much, kept it, I want to say respectable, but it wasn't really respectable at all. But then you had other games. Was it the Portsmouth one? I think we discussed that the other day with someone, and when Kasapa, bless him, just got ripped apart and had looked actually pretty good up until that point, I will say. But that Portsmouth game, Noah Pomeroy scoring one of the best goals I've seen at St James's. It just felt as if things got really toxic really quickly, and I'm not sure Allardyce could have come back from that.
One of the only games where I've nearly walked out.
Yeah. I mean, I've never done that. Genuinely never done that. But it was close that day because it was just awful.
I didn't walk out, but by the time I looked where I was sitting, I was pretty much at the exit door. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where it was such a bad afternoon. But anyway, question number 12. Obafemi Martins left Newcastle to join which side?
Oh, I feel like it was someone.
Sold for £9 million, but only going to score 6 goals for this side. Of course, part of that side that was relegated.
Again, I'm caught. Well, he was apparently one of the ones with the whole Leyton Orient thing, wasn't it? Where they basically said if you want to go, go, and if you don't, then stay. And I think him and maybe Damien Duff had said they wanted to go elsewhere. I've got a really random one in my head, but then also one where I don't even think I want to say Ruben Kazan, but I don't think it is. So is it Wolfsburg?
I got to tell you first answer. It is Wolfsburg.
Yeah.
But It's first answers.
I mean, I did say I want to say Ruben Kazan. I didn't say I was going to.
But you said it first. I don't make the rules. They're just the rules.
You kind of do. I'm saying I got that right. So.
And he went to Seattle. I can't say it. Seattle Sounders and tore up the MLS. I've got a shirt simply because he played for them. And I was like, I want to have a shirt, and I got one because my sister went to America, and I got one as a little gift. But yeah, Martin's one of those players, very entertaining, not prolific enough. Scored great goals though. The one against Spurs particularly sticks in your mind with the speed of it. But yeah, off to Wolfsburg he went. Question number.
I think one of only 3 Premier League players to have scored a penalty with both feet.
That is some that's some achievement if that is true. I'll have to look that up. Question number 13. 5 points available here. I want you to name in order goal scorers of Newcastle's 5-0 victory over Manchester United.
Darren Peacock, David Ginola, Les Ferdinand, Alan Shearer, Philip Albert.
There we go. It's the 3rd and 4th, which people I think sometimes get a little bit mixed up with. But you are on.
The way I always remember that is obviously Shearer put the cross in, didn't he, for Les to score the header, and then jeered, reacted to the Manchester United fans, and then it was all about could Shearer score against them, and could he get the 4th goal to gain some measure of revenge. Not that it really was for the Charity Shield, and it's just him that got the goal. So, but the icing on the cake, as was famously said, was the 5th, which was just an incredible goal. And still picture it. I can close my eyes now and picture it. Just again in the Gallagher, my season ticket seat there. I can see it all and see the move play out and everything. Brilliant day.
Absolutely superb performance and result, and great goals to go alongside it as well. Question number 14. Which side did Newcastle United sign Des Hamilton from in 1997?
What if Mark Douglas is watching?
Yeah.
Formerly of this parish. Just go Des. One of Daglish's first signings, if not his first.
It was his first, I believe.
Yeah, and just a strange one, really, because he was kind of felt as if it was just a sign they didn't need, in an area they didn't need to improve, yet somehow ended up with him. But yeah, it was Bradford City.
It was indeed a handful of performances before he went off and left Newcastle United. It was Bradford City, as Mark says there. Question number 15. Who has more international caps? Bruno Guimaraes or Sandro Tonali?
What a brilliant question. I'm going to say, because Sandro stayed within the 21s for quite a while, longer than people expect. I'm going to say Bruno, but it wouldn't shock me if it was either of them.
It is Bruno, and it's Bruno by quite a number, really, given the question, by 11 caps.
Yeah, because Tonali, I think, pretty much when he came to Newcastle was still in and around the 21 setup, or sort of just come out of it. And then obviously, I mean, the other thing is he had a ban as well, didn't he, which limited some appearances. So, but yeah, what a midfield pair, those two.
Oh, fantastic. Some of the best we've seen in Newcastle United. Bruno has been capped 41 times by Brazil and Sandro Tonali 30 times by Italy. Question 16, and there are 4 points available here, Mark. There are 4 players who've been sent off 4 times. There's a lot of 4s for Newcastle United in the Premier League. Can you name them? So 4 players who've had 4 red cards in the Premier League for Newcastle United.
Wow. I'm not sure I can name one of them.
You could name one of them. Most certainly. I mean, if you think about hotheads, physical players who love a scrap, then this person is often at the top of your list.
Well, it's not Joe Linton, is it? Because he hasn't.
No. Joe Linton, though, is about 5 or 6 off the record for the most yellow cards in the Premier League.
Wasn't Joe Linton's only red card at Newcastle in a friendly against Benfica?
I'll have to take your word for that. I don't know.
Yeah.
He hasn't been sent off in the Premier League, I don't believe. But yeah, come on, you can name this guy. David Batty is one of them. The other three are all centre backs of different. Well, two of the same era. One's a Geordie, two are not, and they played nearly 10 years apart.
Stephen Taylor.
Stephen Taylor's the other one. One is a former captain.
Centre back.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to give you 15 seconds.
Oh, okay. Steve Howie?
Nope, not Steve Howie. I was surprised, actually, at one of these names. I didn't think he had it in him, to be quite honest with you. I didn't think he was that sort of player.
They never are.
Come on, then. Final guesses before I lock you down.
Nah, just go for it, mate.
Fabrizio Colacini.
Oh, wow, okay.
And Nikos Dabazas. And I can't think of the four he got sent off, but and I double and treble checked this, just like Santa does with a naughty list, and all these four players were on it. So there you go.
The only one that stands out with Colacini was at Sunderland, against Sunderland, and I don't think he should have been.
No, he got sent off against Liverpool, didn't he? I'm sure he got done for a foul that wasn't a foul with Luis Suarez, to my memory. But anyway,
that happens.
Four players who've been sent off 4 times for Newcastle in the Premier League: Dabazas, Colacini, Taylor, Stephen, and David Batty. So there we go, and you got 2 points out of the 4 there. Question 17: which club have Newcastle at home collected the most points from in the Premier League?
Good question.
And it's funny, it's not necessarily the team they've played the most either.
Is it? So again, I've got a few in my head.
Got to take your first answer.
I'm going to say Aston Villa.
It is Aston Villa. Oh, it is Aston Villa. Would you like the numbers?
It's only because I don't remember too many defeats against Aston Villa at home.
28 games they've played. They've won 18, they've drawn 8, and they've only lost 2.
And one would have been the Darren Boyer game.
And Stephen Taylor got sent off as well. Second in the list is Everton.
And I get an extra point for naming the other one.
Go on then.
It was the first day of the 98-99 season when Shearer got sent off, I think. Julian George scored for Villa. That would have been the other one, I think.
I'm not going to give you an extra point.
You should.
However,
unbelievable.
62 points they've collected from Aston Villa. Everton, they've collected 53 points, and Southampton, they've collected 52.
You know, I thought Tottenham might have been up there.
So there you go. So yeah, point there. I thought you had it. I mean, that's a good guess there, Mark. Question 18. Who has the record in the Premier League for the most goals in a single game for Newcastle United?
Well, but must be Shearer.
It is. Which game?
Sheffield Wednesday. Scored 5. Yeah. An incredible day again. Just, I think it was a Dyer, Aaron Hughes, and Gary Speed got the other ones. Andy Booth, obviously, I then scored quite early on for Sheffield Wednesday. Both teams were sitting in the bottom 2 in the Premier League, and it was one of those nervy days that suddenly turned into something amazing. You know, Aaron Hughes, an unexpected goal scorer, but the rest of them certainly weren't. And Shearer, was it Paul Robinson tried to nick his last one, tried to get the penalty off him, and was told, in terms that we can't use, especially not on a Christmas special, that he wouldn't be getting the penalty.
Yeah, perfect way for Sir Bob Robson to start his time at Newcastle United. Penultimate question then, question number 19. 12 points available here, Mark. 12, okay? You're looking worried. Don't be worried. 12 players have scored a treble for Newcastle in the Premier League. Can you name them?
Beardsley.
Yep.
Cole.
Yep.
Shearer, yep. Ferdinand.
Yep.
Michael Owen.
Yep.
Demba Ba.
Yep.
Andy Carroll.
Yes.
Leon Best.
Yes.
Kevin Nolan.
Indeed.
Couldn't forget that one. How many is that?
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
We've got 3 more.
3 more to get.
Well, Shola's only one was it in the
Reading in the
Championship.
championship. You've mentioned Shearer, Barr and Cole. They got 2 apiece. The rest of them have only had 1 treble. One would have either been last season or the season before. Player no longer with us. Isaac. And then the other 2.
Who's that against it?
I couldn't tell you to save me bacon, to be honest. But he did score according to my research. The other 2, one was a Spaniard and the other was a Dutchman.
So Luke D. No. Cliver. Oh, Gini Van Alden.
Yeah. And the final answer, final one.
Perez against Southampton, I think that one was.
There we go. So they're all 12. Shearer, Barr, Cole with 2 apiece. Then Beardsley, Ferdinand, Owen, Carroll, Perez, Wijnaldum, Best, Isaac, and Kevin Nolan. 12 players to have scored a hat-trick in the Premier League for Newcastle United. And the final question, Mark. How many wins does Eddie Howe in all competitions as Newcastle United manager have?
Is it multiple choice or have I got a... No, it's clearly not.
Well, I can throw you some answers out if you want.
Hang on. Is it? I can't remember this incorrectly. In all competitions?
In all competitions.
Is it 100?
It's 103.
Oh, is it? Because that was fairly recently, wasn't it, that they flagged up that he'd got his 100th. So that's why I couldn't remember when it was and if they'd won since.
103 out of 199, drawn 39 and lost 57.
His win percentage is over 50%, isn't it? Which kind of classes is pretty decent, to be fair to him.
So I've done the numbers. How well do you think you've done? There was 38 points available.
30.
No, hello, not bad. 31 in total.
I'll take that.
That's not too bad at all. It's probably like Europa Conference League place, and you would think.
I would take that. I don't mind a trip to Armenia on a Thursday night. Why not?
So there we go, ladies and gents. I hope you've enjoyed the Not So Big Everything is Black and White podcast Christmas quiz. I hope you played along. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope maybe it's given you some light relief on a stressful Christmas day. Go back, make sure you haven't burnt the turkey, and get into the comments as well. And let us know your thoughts on any of the answers or questions that are featured in today's show. Me and Mark, hopefully all things being well, will be back after Newcastle's game against Manchester United, which will, if my research is correct, will be Eddie Howe's 200th game in charge of Newcastle United and hopefully his 104th victory managing the Magpies. Fingers crossed they beat Manchester United down at Old Trafford. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas day. It's been a pleasure as always. Have a good one, and we'll see you guys very soon.